Hello and welcome to Let's Talk DeKalb. I'm your host, Damon Lewis. Now, certainly we're all adjusting to a new way of life due to the COVID-19 pandemic, with social distancing, sheltering in place as needed, and even wearing masks wherever we go, like this one, which is one of my favorites. It says Cleveland Browns because, well, that's my hometown. But there's no doubt we're all having to adjust to our new normal as we go about our daily lives. So on today's show, we'll highlight how DeKalb County's Department of Human Services is doing just that through newly launched, interactive, creative, virtual programming. And guess what? It's available for all ages. Indeed, there's no doubt during our current health pandemic that virtual services are a great, safe way to keep us active and engaged, even from the comfort of our own homes. From dancing, exercise, music lessons, computer basics, stress management, drama, painting, foreign language, chess, line dancing, and even manners and etiquette. Here in DeKalb County, there are virtual classes of all facets, and again, that's for all ages. Up first on today's show is my recent interview with the director of DeKalb's Human Services Department, Damon Scott, to tell us all about it. Now, Damon is a married father of two who led statewide human services initiatives, notably in the nonprofit sector and in behavioral health care for many years. Since October of 2017, Damon has led DeKalb County government's Human Services Department, where he works to enhance the quality of life for DeKalb's more than 700,000 residents. Here now is that interview with Damon Scott. Damon Scott, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me, Diamond. Appreciate it.
Now, Damon, you are the director of DeKalb County's Human Services Department, which pretty much means that you help in enriching life for all citizens in DeKalb County, from cradle all the way through senior citizen age. Those are our golden year seniors. So talk to me about that and who all you serve. What's the overall mission and vision of the Human Services Department?
That is correct, Diamond. We have programs in human services from infancy into end of life. And what we don't directly develop, we have partnerships and organizations that we fund by way of the Human Services Grants Program to make sure that services from infancy to end of life, which is in our seniors in between, are covered and the programs are accessible. And it's very and extremely important, like during times like now, that these resources are available and that they can come to the Human Services Department and get their needs met.
Now, I'm glad you referenced times like now, because that's exactly what we want to talk to you about today. So this was a service that you were already doing in DeKalb County. You were already serving all ages in DeKalb County. And then the COVID-19 pandemic hit, and it was sheltering in place, social distancing, masks, all these different new norms, cultural norms within our society. And so it became, well, can we still engage the citizenry here in DeKalb County? So talk to me about how you all have found a new way, a virtual way, to reach out to our citizens.
Yes, and thank you for picking up on that. We have moved a lot of our programming, by the nature of the situation that we're in right now, into a virtual environment. And when I say that, that means this, is that we have, in some respects, recreated what would normally happen in a physical space, and we have created some of that programming content and moved it onto a virtual platform with the help of our IT department, and with the broadcasting capabilities of DCTV has helped us get the word out and putting different things on our website, and working with our nonprofit partners and our human services staff to make sure that whether you're a youth or you're a senior, that you can access the programs that we have. So we've done that very successfully with our senior population when the senior centers were closed and have closed due to them being the highest risk population as it relates to COVID-19. And we were able to move that programming into a virtual space so that seniors could still participate, that they could still remain social, be connected, that their physical fitness and mental well-being needs were being met there. And we've done something very similar with our youth that we call a virtual village.
Now, I know that virtual village is spectacular because parents were equally impacted, really twofold, because of the pandemic. Not only did parents have to start staying at home in most cases, couldn't go into the office unless they were deemed essential employees, but schools were also closed. So kids had to stay at home as well. So as a parent, it's, okay, what do I do with my child now? How do I engage my child throughout the course of the day? Because you don't want your kid to sit at home and just watch TV all day, become a couch potato. So the virtual village came about and, just offers a plethora of programs and classes that kids can take and engage in virtually. So talk to me about all the different programs and classes that are offered through the virtual village.
We are so excited about this concept, Diamond, beyond words, and something you touched on, which is very key. This shift has happened in so fast and in such a way that, yes, it did put parents and caretakers and guardians at a disadvantage because what then became the new normal was having to be at home all day, not having that 5, 6, or 7 hour break, and sometimes even longer after school of kids being in that learning environment, and then parents, guardians, and caretakers figuring out how to not only get their work done at home, but then also moving into the educational requirements of their kids. And now we know that schools are closed. Largely, there have been shelter-in-place orders and things like movie theaters and malls and everything else that kids typically gravitate to. Even youth groups at churches have been affected, and the children have not been able to go. So this virtual village platform that we created was a way for our partners with the DeKalb school system, our own internal partners like Parks and Recreation, and our other nonprofit entities to have programs for youth. If they have a program that could transition to virtual content, we've created a one-stop shop and put it all within our youth services in addition to our 18 programs, signature programs that we have that goes from literally infancy, to up to about 24 years old that is free and the programming is accessible. The reason why I say emphasize free is because when my Office of Youth Services did a gap analysis, one of the things that we got in terms of feedback was that youth are affected in terms of participating in programming, especially around the summer, with two main things, was the cost and having access to transportation. While we have this virtual village, the only other gap that was there was making sure that they had the technology available to access the programming that's online, because there's over about 35 classes, I think it is, that we have now in programs. So we have programs like Baby Box, where when a newborn baby comes home, the parent has the things that they need to ensure the safety of that child in their first few months of life, to children learning to play chess. Then we have a Sights and Sounds program for the artsy students that want to learn how to make songs and do videography. Then we have another program that deals with self-esteem and peer pressure in partnership with Chris 180. All of this is online that parents and the kids can go to directly, depending on what your area is, your age bracket is, and what it is that you want to do. And we're very excited about that. We also have our own DeKalb County Parks and Recreation virtual summer camp that's hosted also in this virtual village. So depending on however old you are, what your interests are, there's something up there for you.
That's fantastic. And I thank you so much for all that you're doing. And the bottom line is, even in the wake of the COVID-19 pandemic, your office is still here as a resource for the people of DeKalb County.
That's correct.
Stick around. Next, we'll take a more in-depth look at DeKalb's launch of the first ever virtual village for the youth of DeKalb County. And Damon will join us again later on in this show to give us a first-hand look at the virtual programming also in place for our senior citizens. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Let's Talk DeKalb as we focus on the engaging way DeKalb's Human Services Department continues to enhance the quality of life for all of DeKalb County even in the midst of the COVID-19 pandemic. In this segment, we're excited to focus on DeKalb's virtual village, managed out of the Human Services Department's Office of Youth Services Division. It's a platform that allows children, youth, and families to maintain safe social distancing practices while connecting online. And the classes are free and available to all. And there are dozens of them, trust me, covering many topics. Everything ranging from story time to Minecraft, film, dance, cosmetology, music, and so much more. I recently sat down for an interview via Zoom for this special edition of Let's Talk DeKalb with two instructors from the virtual village, Jacqueline Smalley with the Children's Museum of Atlanta and Dr. Kenneth Gaucher of Morehouse College, and Shawn Williams, who serves as the division chair of the Office of Youth Services. First, let me tell you a bit about our guests. Shawn Williams is the newly appointed division manager of the Office of Youth Services. He's an Atlanta transplant from New York and has been with the Office of Youth Services here in DeKalb County for 6 years. His love of working with our youth truly shows. Jacqueline Smalley is the manager of the School of Outreach and Programs at the Children's Museum of Atlanta. She's a former early childhood education teacher and also worked as a teaching artist for more than 15 years. And we have it on good word that her virtual village program is pretty popular. And finally, Dr. Kenneth Gaucher is an associate professor and division chair at Morehouse College. He's been on the faculty in computer science at Morehouse since 2011. He developed the first and only software engineering program at an HBCU in 2019. And get this, he also developed the first and only HBCU coding bootcamp this year. So let's get to it. Let's take a look now at that interview about DeKalb County's first ever virtual village. Shawn, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Now, we also have two of the instructors from the virtual village, and we'll talk to them in a bit. But first, tell me, how did this whole concept for a virtual village, how did that come about?
Currently, we offer over 30 free youth programs and activities to our youth. We also provide them with laptops and Wi-Fi hotspots to address the digital divide. And also on our website, we also have the Summer Youth Voucher Program, where some students can take in-person camps and get vouchers for those eligible programs.
Now, I need you to back up and talk to me about that again, because in addition to dealing with the pandemic of COVID-19, there is still the digital divide. And so you said, you know what? Not only are we going to engage you, but we're not going to allow the fact that you may not have a computer at home to keep you from still engaging with this wonderful platform that we've just launched. Talk to me a little bit more about that providing of the computers to young people in DeKalb.
Absolutely. So we partner with Inspire EDU, which is an organization that works with the community and providing them with permanent learning devices. Currently, we have over 100 that were being offered to our students, and also 50 different loaner laptops that we received through IT to address the digital divide. We understand, and as the world shifts to a virtual space, that some people may not have the Wi-Fi or accessibility to get these things financially. So we wanted to lighten that burden on that family and provide them with these devices so they can just access anything, whether it's helping them with homework, accessing free programming, or just even discovering what the world has to offer.
Now, in addition to the wonderful work that you're doing, you wanted to brag a little bit more about your program by bringing these two heavy hitters with you onto the program today. So why don't you introduce the two instructors who are joining us on our program today?
So today we have Dr. Gaucher and also Mrs. Smalley from the Children's Museum of Atlanta, and also Dr. Gaucher is from Morehouse College. These two wonderful individuals submitted proposals. They were reviewed by our office. They were awarded, and now they're actually providing free youth programs for 6 weeks for the summer programs.
Now, Dr. Gaucher, tell us about, first of all, I have to tell you, I'm your Spelman sister. Let me start there. And I understand there's also a connection there with you, Miss Smalley, so we'll get to that in a minute. That's a big deal. But Dr. Gaucher, tell me about your program and how your interaction has been thus far with the young people of DeKalb County in the virtual village.
It's been really great. The students are really excited about the program. Just getting the software installed is an accomplishment within itself. And so we really have big plans, and hopefully at the end of the program, we want the students to be able to demonstrate and show off their newly designed apps to their family and friends.
How are you helping the young people to develop their minds and their craft throughout this virtual village program?
So an important part of this program is to really give them not just the technical skills, but so that they understand the computing landscape and what opportunities are there for them. What are the educational pathways that they can go down, whether it be through a normal degree program or a coding boot camp. And then we show them after that, what are the different career fields in computing that they can do, not just app development, but multiple fields in that area.
You know, what you're doing is so important because the digital world is what young people are engaged with now. That's what they understand. That's the way they communicate. I knew that things had changed when I was babysitting my young nephews one day. And I mean, he was a little toddler. And he went up to the flat screen TV because it wasn't mounted on the wall. And he tried to move it like this with his hand. And I said, what? He thinks that's a tablet. And so that showed me that these young people, they see things completely different. And so you're helping them to learn how to be a part of that world. So talk to me about what kind of apps are the young people working on through your program right now?
Well, right now we're just starting off with some of the basics in order to get the fundamentals. Later on in the course, we'll actually have them break off and start thinking about different projects they want to come up with. And then they'll work on those apps in the later half of the program. I really want them to find apps that kind of relate to them and something that they're interested in, versus have them just work on kind of cookie cutter apps the whole program.
What kind of challenges have you been met with thus far?
I think because of COVID and not being there in person, it's harder with just getting the software installed when people have different machines. I think it's great that they all have the machines, and I'm happy for DeKalb County to support that. But because it's so many different users on different devices, it's been a challenge to make sure everyone is on, it gets the software installed. But once they get the software installed, I think the overall response has been pretty good.
And they're excited about learning all that you have to provide. So that's great. Thank you so much for what you're doing.
Thank you.
Now, Ms. Jacqueline Smalley, you come to us from the Children's Museum of Atlanta. Talk to me about how the virtual village really kind of meshes well with the overall mission of the Children's Museum of Atlanta.
Sure. Well, our mission here at the Children's Museum Atlanta is to spark imagination in every child through learning, through play. So we try to make all of our workshops a combination of just having fun and learning at the same time. Most of the workshops that we've done with DeKalb are based on books. When we read the book to the kids and then they create a small structure after the book, we have just a great program created for the kids and they love it. We have been having a great time with them. So the Power of Play Camp is a combination of STEM projects, arts and culture, literacy, and just giving them a time to be interactive with each other as well.
And what kind of reception have you been receiving from the young people of DeKalb County through this program?
Oh, they're so cute. They really, really love it. They're always positive and upbeat. We were a little nervous because our camp happens at 9 o'clock in the morning. And we were like, oh, are the kids going to be ready? Are they going to be grumpy? Are they going to be, focused? And they are. Our host, Parker Singletary, is hilarious. And he's so much fun. We started off with a social emotional piece called The Invisible String and Jabari Jumps. And I think the kids really, really connect to Parker and also to the characters that are in the stories. So because of that, they're able to hang in there with us throughout the entire workshop. They answer open-ended questions with great responses. And they just really make our day start off with like smiles and laughter. So
wonderful. So it's rewarding working with the young minds who will be our future leaders.
Yes, we love it. And we tell kids, you don't have to wait to be an artist. You're an artist now. You don't have to wait to be a scientist. You're a scientist now. You don't have to wait to be an engineer. So that's why it's important for us to show them those stories so that they can get started on their paths right now,
Well, Jashawn, I have to say, I see why you brought these two instructors with you. They certainly sound excited about the programs they offer. So if I offered a few seconds to give us a quick elevator pitch for the young people who may be watching this, why should the viewers of this program sign up to be in your specific platform in the virtual village of DeKalb County? I'll start with you, Dr. Gaucher.
Well, if anyone is interested in technology, if anyone's interested in STEM or computing, I think this would be a great experience just to learn. Even if you don't want to be a computer scientist, but want to learn some computational thinking skills that might apply to some other career options that you might have in mind, definitely reach out and let's start coding.
Let's start coding. Then you, Miss Smalley, why would someone want to sign up for your class?
Sign up for our class because our class is fun, it's engaging, it's exciting. We cover a variety of topics. We're going to be making slime, we're going to be gardening, because you need to have fun while you're home with your parents.
Now, Jashawn, I know this is for the young people of DeKalb County. Does that mean I can't sign up? Because now I'm excited about it.
Unfortunately, you cannot sign up. We actually offer the classes between 0 and 18. So we have various classes between 0 and 18 that we're offered to our youth in DeKalb.
The bottom line is space is still open and our viewers should still reach out, correct?
Yes. We're about 80% at capacity right now, and we're looking for more people to sign up before our 6 weeks is over.
Okay, well, I thank you all for what you're doing for the young minds of DeKalb County, and I look forward to maybe taking a sneak peek at some of your classes and just kind of scoping it out and seeing what all you have going on. Thank you all so much for joining us on this special edition of Let's Talk DeKalb.
Thanks for having us.
Again, thank you to each of our guests for helping get the word out about DeKalb County's first ever virtual village. Coming up next, we'll talk about all of the amazing virtual programming DeKalb has in place for our more seasoned adults. No doubt when it comes to engaging programming in DeKalb County, no one is left out. Stick around. Welcome back to this edition of Let's Talk DeKalb, where we're spotlighting the virtual services DeKalb County offers in the midst of the COVID-19 pandemic. I'm Damon Lewis. Now, just before the break, we discussed the programs for our youth here in DeKalb County. Now it's time to talk about the virtual programming for our older, or shall I say, more seasoned adults. Here's a look now at my interview earlier today with some of the folks behind the magic curtain making all of this great programming possible. DeKalb Human Services Director Damon joins us again for this segment, along with Miss Charlene Knox, who is a very active member of the Lew Walker Senior Center. In fact, she's been a member of that center since the center's inception in 2005. She's the president of the Lew Walker Senior Center Council of Excellence Advisory Board, and she directs the Lew Walker Senior Center Drama Club and Toastmasters programs, both of which she now offers through the county's virtual programming portal. Next up, we have the instructor of the Art of Meditation program, Mr. Amon Davis. Amon has been a registered nurse for more than 30 years and has worked in emergency rooms, ICUs, correctional facilities, psychiatric and drug rehabilitation units. His conscious journey into self-discovery began as he cared for his patients in their moments of crisis, which he refers to as their dark days of the soul. And last but not least, joining our conversation is the manager of the Central DeKalb Senior Center, Miss Victoria Kingsland. Victoria is the first director of the Central DeKalb Senior Center. The center opened its doors in December of 2014 and is located in Mason Mill Park. It's become an active, vibrant center with more than 800 members. Victoria has lived all over the United States, but made her permanent home here in Metro Atlanta in 2005. Let's take a look now at that interview as we delve deeper into the virtual programs offered to the senior citizens of DeKalb County. So thank you all for joining us here today. I want to talk to you about how, due to the pandemic, we had to find a new way of making sure that our seniors aren't isolated. So I'm going to start with my first question for Mr. Damon Scott here. Damon, tell me about how this whole portal came about and this virtual offering of services for our seniors.
Thank you, Diamond, for that question. And I think the thing that jumps out most to me as it relates to how we responded during this pandemic is the great people like Ms. Knox and Mr. Davis and Victoria Kingsland and others that are part of our extended network in our community. And I like to think of Human Services as a family and a partnership and the collaborators. And that's everything you need in a pandemic. And so when it came down to working with the seniors, we immediately knew, and we had already started some of this. We don't get sometimes in our work with seniors to credit regionally for being the first to do many things, but we had already started around the lines of virtual platforms and engaging our seniors and looking at the technology divide to make sure our seniors are connected in different ways. Because we've had experiences before, like when you have an unexpected snowstorm or different things where seniors could not come in the centers, and we started planning along those lines. So unfortunately, when this pandemic hit, Diamond, we just put it on steroids and on the fast track. And with the help of our IT department and your department and others, we were able to really, really jump out there and get some virtual programming to our seniors.
Now, Victoria, you have been serving that community there in the central DeKalb area, just off of Mason Mill Road. I know because I'm always over there playing with my nephews at the playground just behind. But when COVID-19 hit, talk to me about the concern that maybe that senior community will become more isolated, because that demographic actually had a higher risk of being impacted in an adverse way by COVID-19. So talk to me about how you said, oh gosh, I don't want them to become isolated. I still want to reach out to them. Talk to me about what challenge that posed for you.
Sure. Well, thank you, Damon. Good to see you. And I've often seen you here in the building, so it's nice to have you back at Central DeKalb today. And you're correct, because we have the largest population of over 90 of any senior center in the metro area. And we had about 800 members and the average of 190 people a day in this building. And for many of them, retired professionals living on their own, some of them in senior high-rise living facilities around here, some of them still in their own homes and condos and townhouses. But we've always known that one of the reasons Central DeKalb was so successful was because we could keep people engaged and active. And we had to sit back and reimagine and recreate what we've done in the past. And so that was really that was our very first decision. How are we going to make this work now that we can't have people in the building? But how can we do outreach? And we knew that we'd have to do it multiple ways, because we all know not everybody is going to access information in the same way. So that's what we did. We actually recreated, not all of our programs are better than half of them. In the past, we've had 64 classes and programs a week, and now we've got 36. But still, we took our most popular instructors and most popular programs, and we've been able to offer those.
Now, you all have some fun folks. You all talk about all the numbers and things like that, and I'll get back to you on that, but now I want to get into some fun. We also have two of our instructors here. So I've got Mr. Amon Davis and Miss Charlene Knox. Talk to me about your classes. Charlene, we'll start with you, because I know I'm recognizing your face. I see you at the Lou Walker Senior Center all the time. Talk to me about your classes and how you're still engaging with our seniors in a virtual fashion.
Well, we have fun because, number one, I am the drama instructor and director of the drama club. And we have, I guess, really dug into our creativity. We've learned to do outstanding backgrounds. We've learned we're writing more scripts. We have had numerous performances on our classes every week. Last week we had a program where I divided them up in groups, and three in a group, and each one of them were able to create a skit, and all, without me knowing it, most of them was related to the coronavirus. I mean, I was very excited to see one particular group that did their event in a church, and they were talking about, it was two usher board members were talking about the fact that they're going to have a different set of rules. And the minister even preached about 6 feet a mass or 6 feet under. It was very, very funny and very, very exciting. It was a great way to look at what we may have to do when we do go to church. So the drama club has been very, very creative. And I'm also a part of Toastmasters. Everybody know Lou Walker Talkers, because we love, love, love to talk. And we've had an exciting Toastmasters group since 2005, and we have not stopped. So we are meeting still every Wednesday. We are having speakers, we're having evaluators. You wouldn't know that we're not at Lou Walker Center anymore, but it has helped all of us because many of us was wondering what we were going to do. And I think the fact that so many of them are home and they're not dancing and doing other things, that they're able to do more in drama as far as digging into their creative senses and really having a good time. So we're having fun in drama, and we're definitely having fun in Toastmasters also.
Now, it's no secret that my two favorite seniors are my mom and dad. And I regularly would drive by their house and wave or drop off groceries because I just wanted to make sure they were okay. I didn't want them to, because they're active seniors. I know at Lou Walker, you all say seniors don't retire, they refire. So we didn't want the seniors to have to stay at home and shelter in place and be impacted in a negative way because of that, because that isolation can be a difficult thing. So, Mr. Davis, if you would talk to us about what you're bringing to the table. You're a registered nurse for 35 years, and you're teaching the seniors this level of meditation, how you can calm your spirit and find some way of having peace within yourself during such a trying time. So talk to us about, and by the way, I need some pointers from you after this interview is over, but if you would tell us about your meditation courses that you offer through this virtual platform.
I usually have themes when I have my classes. So one of the themes was alone but together. And that addressed what we were doing at home and how we should go within. And it gives us the opportunity, it is an opportunity for us to go within to see how we're thinking, how we're feeling, and how we're being. And in doing so, when you begin to look at how you're processing life, it gives you an opportunity to reprocess it in a way that maybe you have never done before. And so that's what we do there. And what I've had, we had 35 people in the class. That's the largest class that I've had in the center. So people are coming and they're interested and they're realizing that the clutter in their minds that affects them, that's creating havoc for them. And once they begin to look at what is going on in their inner world, and then discover that they have a choice. They can change that behavior pattern. They can change that thought, and in doing so, they change what they see. One of my statements in the class is, if you change the way you look at things, you change the things you look at by changing the way you look at things. And so we are beginning to process this being sheltered in a way that I don't think would have happened if we had not been sheltered in. So people are going into their inner space and learning how to clean it up, because you can't clean a room until you can see, until the light comes on. So when they're aware of what's going on inside of them, then they can look at and change what they look at. And change the things and change the way things are in their experience, life experience.
You know, the mind is a very interesting thing. And like you said, you've got to work that mind and be able to control your thoughts and the clutter. I love that term, the clutter, because there's a lot of clutter going on in here. So I love that term, the clutter in your mind. And what I found is, just like you said, it's about the way you look at things, because just as concerned or worried as I was to make sure my parents were okay, you know, I'm driving by, constantly going to the grocery store and things. They were equally concerned for me, because I'm still going to work. I'm labeled an essential employee. I'm going to the grocery store to pick up things for them. And so we both are trying to protect one another. What kind of reception or response are you getting from the seniors? Because again, meditation is important anyway, but with this circumstance, it's that much more critical.
I think that what I've been hearing more is that in spite of what's going on, they are at peace with it. You know, they're not emotionally imbalanced because of it. And that is really a gift that you can't change other people, but you can change yourself. You can change your responses, and you can change how you feel about something else. And I believe that once you change yourself, everything changes around you. And so in that light, I truly believe that once we collectively begin to process and be in a state of inner peace. From that platform, we can begin to bring peace to whoever we're around and to whoever we're not around, actually. So yeah, peace and is what we've learned in the class by slowing down the clutter. And there are many techniques that you can use to do that. So peace is what I found that most people in this time of being sheltered in has helped us to maintain our stability.
The power of the mind is something that we're learning in your class. And then, Charlene, what I found to be interesting during when the economy kind of went down the tubes there during a few years ago, what we noticed was every household across this country had to tighten their belts. But the ticket sales of movies and entertainment went up. And I thought that was fascinating because you would think that that would be a luxury that folks would say, okay, well, I can't afford that right now. But what studies have shown is that during trying times, people reach out and look for the arts or ways of expressing themselves or some level of entertainment to find some of that balance and that peace. So are you seeing that in your class through the theatrics and the ability just to act out and express themselves through your acting class, Ms. Knox?
Well, yes, I definitely see that in the classes. And I am amazed about it in the first place because in our classes, when we were in the center, I just felt like we just had so much other things to do. Well, now we are writing, we are gardening, we are taking time to do certain things that are allowing us to relax, to get some of the stress off. And I feel our drama club is definitely benefiting because I've seen more creativity than I've seen in all the years I've been a drama instructor. So I do feel it's allowing us to dig deeper into ourselves to become more creative. And we're learning so much right now. We're learning so much about Zoom and other sites that we can go into to enhance our characters. And some of the things that when we're at the center, we're limited to a certain degree because there's only so many things that you can put on the stage to bring your character out. Well, now because we have this whole world around us, this Zoom environment and all the backdrops, and even some people are even sharing vacation sites, but also something that is appropriately going on with the character that they are creating. It's really definitely outstanding.
Now, this is just, again, 2 of the classes offered through this virtual portal. Damon, if you can talk to us about how many classes you offer and how now members of the Lew Walker Senior Center, they're engaging with members from other senior centers because this is now a virtual platform. So now it's open to everyone. It's not just open to one senior center in DeKalb County.
The beauty and the value of what we have at Lew Walker and Central and what's being offered now in this pandemic is that we've been able to tap into the extensive professional backgrounds and the great experiences that our seniors have and give an additional platform for the Mr. Davises to offer something that you normally would not see and is not replicated, because if it could be replicated, it would be. And we have something unique, and with Miss Knox and the drama club and Central adding the arts. And so one of the things that was paramount was safety for our seniors. And then the next thing was making sure that we did everything we could do to bring our senior centers to where they are, no matter what senior center they were in. And along those lines and with that, Diamond, we currently have about over 1,000 seniors enrolled across the different virtual programs that we have, and any senior in the county can take those, and they are. And then Lew Walker has over 60 programs, which is inclusive of cooking, Tai Chi, aerobics. There's all kinds of stuff that's there, and you can go on that website and see that. The seniors get unique Zoom IDs and they can join. The word of mouth is growing. And I think that's very important, especially during this time, because one thing we do know is that information is power, and the ability to stay connected is power. And so we've created senior resource guides to let seniors know across the county, in the private communities and within our membership, of what's available, what's out there. And we made that stuff accessible. It's on our website. We have to extend that network especially during these times, because everybody knows that if a senior is not connected to a family or connected, then it's our ability and it's our job to make sure that they are, or we share the information on how they can do that. We want to make sure that it's not just at Lou Walker, but Lou Walker, if they go to that website, they will see some amazing things that's going on there. But it's also extending to our other senior centers and to other seniors throughout the county.
I want to repeat that because I want to make sure everybody is clear on that. So in order to gain access to the virtual programs, you can access all of these classes, like with Charlene Knox and Amon Davis, we're going to meditate, via the Lou Walker website. But it's not only for Lou Walker Senior Center members, it's for all senior citizens in DeKalb County.
That's right.
One of the classes that I feel is so vitally important for the seniors right now is learning how to use their devices. Many times the seniors will say, oh, my son or my daughter bought me this particular telephone and I don't know how to use it. Well, guess what? They have been forced to learn how to use their devices because they're social distancing from their friends and they need this interaction. But it also have allowed them to learn how to use their tablets, their computers, their cameras, because we have a photographer group, a class, and they're learning how to use those devices, and it is helping them communicate with their doctors, communicate with their families. Many of them are having family Zoom calls once a week, every month. This is one thing that has helped, this particular class has helped them be able to do this and not be so isolated from their families. So I really appreciate the fact that Lou Walker have these classes available, and to learn how to use those cameras, those telephones, those tablets, everything. And this really is helping the seniors not feel so isolated. Because the other day I heard someone says, I saw a nephew that I haven't seen since he was 3 years old. They're in touch with their families now. And thank goodness this tool was available, because lots of times we are so busy with other things, we don't take the classes that we need. But right now in this environment, it's a personal thing. Just me and Larry. We're the only ones in the class, or Larry and I. We're the only ones in the class. And I feel Larry is talking to me, directly to me, and he's forcing me to slow down, Charlene, and relax and enjoy. But I'm also able to do that because I've learned how to use my devices more effectively. So I think that's a good thing for the seniors also.
Thank you for saying that. That's a huge class, and you're absolutely right. We want to make sure that our seniors are aware that there are classes that helps them with the technology in their own homes. I've also seen you all have Zumba classes and line dancing classes and even chair aerobics classes. So it's getting that body to move. So Victoria, if you would tell us, what are some of the classes that you noticed are a hit with your demographic there at the Central DeKalb Senior Center?
Oh, thank you so much. One of the things I wanted to share with you is that we start every day, 5 days a week, with coffee and a chat. And it's led by one of our staff members, Marian Slater, and every staff member has taken on one component of this whole virtual world that we're now in. And so Marian leads coffee and a chat every morning. So it gives our members an opportunity just to drop in and say hello, kind of have a discussion, see what's going on, talk about, what they need in their life or their children or what, like they normally would. She was the person that greeted them when they came in the building. And so now she starts her day greeting them right now. So I think that's a wonderful idea. And I'm really thrilled with that opportunity. We do a little bit of everything. Qigong, and we're also doing a class on women in science. The park ranger here, Jonah, does a 5-minute nature break for us. We have a wonderful travel class. It's called an Armchair Traveler. And our instructor, who was our instructor here, George Brown, leads it, and we have anywhere from 40 to 50 people every week in his class. We've also done Spanish classes, which was one of our most challenging classes. We've continued to do our Hootenanny on the 2nd and 4th Tuesday of every month, just like we did before, which is great. And other musicians throughout the country have been able to join.
You got to tell me now. Tell me about this Hootenanny. I got to know about that.
Well, we've been doing it since we first opened up, and it's something that is a cultural event, I think, for a boomer generation. And it actually started back in the 30s and 40s with the workers' rights movement. And then in the 60s, it was in the university, most often in the Northeast and the West Coast. But some of our members are from all over the country. And so they came to me when we first opened up. They wanted to do this. I said, you're on your own, go for it. And so now it's evolved really into one of our signature programs. And I'm very grateful. They've continued to do it during this pandemic, really. And they have a following. And one of the good things that I love about what we've been able to make happen at Central DeKalb is that, like I said, each member of our staff has something special. Tiffany Hurd, who works here, she's in charge of posting everything on Nextdoor, which opens it up to the community at large. So for people who maybe never came to Central DeKalb and could have, now are sending me emails and saying, oh, I want to join. I had no idea. I thought you guys just did knitting and bingo. So now they're really impressed with the program that we do. James Simon, who does our, he's our facilities manager here. He now is in charge of Facebook. So he pushes all of our programs out in that environment as well. And then we've been able to use our same community partners to do special programs here. So we do a little bit of everything, but we do exercise, we do cultural arts. And in the afternoons, late in the afternoon, I always post several cultural activities, whether it's the symphony, a virtual museum tour, because all the things that people love to do are now offered in a virtual environment. Every evening we do at least 2 or 3 of those, because when the day is done here, people are still alone in their homes. So we want to continue to engage them even after 5. People have to stay engaged every day. You've got to find something to do every day. And if you do physical exercise, no matter what, if it's taking a walk, working in your garden, taking one of our exercise classes, all of that not only engages your body, but your mind and your soul. And that's what really is our role, is to keep people actively engaged and balanced.
That's fantastic. Thank you all for what you're doing. And final question before we wrap up this segment, Damon, if you would just tell us how will this program continue even after the sheltering in place mandates are lifted, even after maybe our senior centers are opened back up? Do you think that this virtual platform and this new way of using technology to engage with our citizenry will continue?
I think it's going to be critical for us to find ways and, of course, budget to continue it and have this as part of our new normal and part of the platform, because not every senior is going to always be able to come to a senior center physically. And we also want to make sure of those that can have and can benefit from the type of classes that are developing and the social outlets that are on this platform, so they can take a meditation class and get all the benefits from the things that Mr. Davis is teaching from an expert level, and then also other skill programming like photography and chair aerobics, other things to make sure that that's available to them no matter where they are, because the feedback that we're getting and the benefit that it's having, it's been incredible of the words and the things and the letters and the emails and the calls that we're getting from seniors. And I want to thank everybody that's, your team for allowing us to even share that, and for everybody that's part of the Human Services family that's on this call, for everything that you're doing to make sure our seniors are well protected and able to shelter in place and still have a life and still benefit from the things that we normally would do inside the senior center.
All right, I thank you all for what you're doing, and I look forward to maybe surveying some of your classes and just kind of checking it out. And thank you all so much for what you're doing to keep our seniors engaged. I think that, again, technology has really made a new way for us to engage even beyond this pandemic. So thank you all for your time today. Wow, there was so much great information on today's show, but unfortunately, we're out of time. Where'd the time go, right? Well, that's going to do it for this edition of Let's Talk DeKalb. Thank you to each of our guests for helping us highlight DeKalb County's virtual programming, and we thank you for watching. Now, we encourage you to get connected and stay connected. Take advantage of all of the great DeKalb County programs and activities, which you saw on today's show are now all available online and are all free. And be sure to keep checking because there are new programs added regularly. Now, for more information on the Virtual Village, visit DeKalboys.org. Remember, class sizes are limited and registration is required. It's on a first-come, first-served basis. In order to participate, all participants must have parent approval, internet access, and web-enabled devices. If you don't have an electronic device to participate, contact the Office of Youth Services to learn about their laptop loaner program. Again, all programs are free. And great news, DeKalb's Office of Youth Services is also providing scholarships through a partnership with the Museum of Design Atlanta to keep all of their programs free of charge. The Virtual Village continues through July 31st, but look out for more virtual programs to come from that office throughout the year. Now, for more information on the virtual programs available to DeKalb County seniors, go to LouWalkerCenter.com. Remember, all programs are free to all DeKalb County senior citizens. Be sure to check out the website frequently to see what's been added to the lineup and what programs interest you. You heard Damon. We're excited to announce that the virtual programs will continue throughout the year. I can't wait to see what's next. And we'd love to hear your thoughts on this show and all of our other programming here on DCTV. Just send us a quick email to dctv@DeKalbCountyGA.gov. And don't forget to stay connected to DeKalb County through our social media channels. You can also get exclusive access to additional DCTV videos on our website at dctvchannel23.tv. Thanks again for watching Let's Talk DeKalb. I had a great time. I hope you did as well. And guess what? From all of us here at DCTV, we want you to stay safe. Until next time, we'll see you.